You ever see someone do something so brave, so completely out of left field, it makes your heart stop? Picture this, a crowded subway platform in downtown Ashwood, Virginia, buzzing with commuters, when a blade flashes, aimed straight at an old man's chest, a guy who's seen too many wars to dodge fast enough. And then, out of nowhere, a woman, barely 5'2", throws herself in front of him, taking the hit. That's how this story starts, and trust me, it only gets wilder from there. Her name's Clara Hensley, a third-grade teacher who spends her days breaking up playground fights and grading spelling tests. She's not built for heroic slight frame, glasses always sliding down her nose, the kind of person you'd pass without a second glance. But that day, March 12, 2025, Clara didn't hesitate. She saw a knife coming for Tom Carver, a grizzled Vietnam vet who shuffles through Ashwood subway station most days, muttering to himself, invisible to the crowd. The attacker, some guy named Derek Holt, had a grudge. Turns out, Tom had called him out weeks earlier for harassing a street vendor, a small thing that festered into rage in Derek's head. Clara, who barely knew Tom beyond seeing him at the station, moved faster than her own thoughts. She shoved Tom hard, sending him stumbling, and caught the blade across her arm deep, messy, blood pooling fast on the concrete. The crowd screamed, phones came out, and in seconds, the whole thing was blasting across the internet. I can still see it in my head, those shaky videos, Clara crumpling, Tom on his knees beside her, his hands shaking as he tried to press her wound, whispering, "Why'd you do that? What?" Her face was pale, but her voice cut through, sharp, "Stay low. Tom, don't move." Derek, wild-eyed, tried to swing again, but a couple of guys in the crowd tackled him, slamming him into a pillar. The knife skittered away, and cops swarmed in, cuffing him as he spat curses. Clara was fading, her breath shallow, but she grabbed Tom's sleeve, barely audible. "Don't let him walk." Medics pushed through, hoisting her onto a stretcher, blood soaking through the gauze. Tom limped after them, clutching her hand like it was the only thing keeping him upright. Outside, sirens wailed, and news vans were already circling like vultures. By nightfall, Clara's name was everywhere. Clara Hensley trending, clips looping on every channel. "Teacher risks life for stranger," the headlines screamed. Some called her a hero, others said she was reckless, leaving her students without a teacher if she didn't pull through. In the hospital, Tom sat hunched in the waiting room, guilt eating him alive. He'd survived jungles and ambushes, but watching Clara bleed out for him, that broke something in him. He kept muttering, "Should have been me." Across town, in a dimly lit bar called Rusty's, a different group was watching those same clips. The Iron Reapers, a motorcycle club with a reputation that made most folks cross the street, sat around a TV, their leather jackets creaking. Their leader, Jack Steele, Ramsey, leaned against the wall, eyes locked on the screen. Clara's shove, her collapse, Tom's helpless stare. "She bled for one of ours," he said, voice low. Nobody argued. Tom wasn't a Reaper, but he'd patched up Jack's brother in Nam decades ago, a debt the club never forgot. The air in that bar shifted, heavy with something unspoken. Engines were going to roar soon. Next morning, the courthouse was a zoo, reporters shoving mics, cameras flashing, cops trying to keep order. Derek Holt's bail hearing was set, and his lawyer, Victor Slade, was already spinning a story. Derek was provoked, a misunderstanding gone wrong. Slade was slick, the kind of guy who could sell ice in a blizzard, backed by Derek's family money and their ties to half the city council. The prosecutor, Emily Voss, wasn't having it. Had video, witnesses, a knife with Derek's prints. But bail hearings aren't about guilt, they're about perception, and Slade knew how to play that game. Tom sat in the front row, hands clenched, knowing Derek could walk by noon if Slade pulled the right strings. Then the doors swung open. 40 Iron Reapers walked in, boots thumping, leather gleaming, their skull and chain patches catching the light. The room froze. Reporters dropped their pens, jaws hit the floor, cameras shook in nervous hands. These weren't the rowdy bikers from bar fights. This was a wall of silence, 40 men moving like a single unit, taking the back rows without a word. Derek's smirk flickered, Slade's cool cracked just a bit, and even the judge hesitated, gavel hovering. Nobody spoke, not a threat, not a grunt, just presence, heavy as a storm cloud. Then, a gasp rippled through the crowd. Clara walked in, arm in a sling, face pale as death, but her eyes burned. Doctors had told her to stay in bed. She'd told them to shove it. She took her seat beside Tom, staring straight at Derek, who couldn't hold her gaze. His lawyer tried to recover. "Your Honor, this was chaos. Not intent me," client panicked. "Nothing more." Emily Voss shot up, voice like steel. He walked into a crowded station with a knife and aimed it at a man who couldn't fight back. Clara Hensley paid the price for his panic. "Look at her." The room felt electric, every word landing harder with the Reapers watching, Clara breathing through her pain, Tom's fists tight. Derek leaned into his mic, sneering. "She's still here, ain't she? What's the fuss?" The gall of it sucked the air out. Slade hissed at him to shut up, but the damage was done. Clara's eyes didn't waver, and the Reapers didn't flinch, just 40 pairs of eyes boring into Derek, making his bravado shrink. The judge cleared his throat, voice unsteady. Given the evidence, the severity of the act, and the risk to the community. He paused, glancing at Clara, then the Reapers. "Bail is denied." The gavel slammed, and the room erupted, reporters shouting, cameras flashing, cheers outside, shaking the windows. Derek's face twisted, screaming, "This ain't right," as deputies dragged him off. The Reapers stood, boots echoing like thunder, and walked out, silent as they came. Days later, Clara was strong enough to leave the hospital. Tom was there, hovering like a worried dad, his hand steadying her elbow. The crowd outside parted as 40 Harleys rolled up, engines growling low, forming 2 perfect lines down the street. Jack Ramsey stood at the head, helmet off, giving Clara a nod that said more than words ever could. She walked between those bikes, each step a fight against pain, but her head was high. The Reapers didn't cheer or clap, just watched, their silence a shield. As Clara reached the car, the engines cut off all at once, and the quiet hit harder than any roar. She turned, met Jack's eyes, and mouthed, "Thank you." He nodded back, and that was it. The story exploded, headlines about the Corridor of Honor, clips of Clara's walk going viral, people arguing if the Reapers were heroes or just scary as hell. But for Tom, it was simple. Clara gave him his life back, and the Reapers made sure she didn't stand alone. That night, candles lit up the subway station where Clara fell. A mural went up on a nearby wall, her silhouette shielding Tom, bold and stark, with 3 words scrawled below: "Courage never fades." The trial's still coming, and Derek's got a long road ahead, locked up with no easy outs. But the city's different now. People talk about Clara, about Tom, about the Reapers, with a kind of awe, maybe a little fear. And that's the thing, what do you make of it? Was Clara reckless or a hero? Were the Reapers protecting justice or flexing power? Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Have you ever seen loyalty like this? Or does it make you uneasy? Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and let's keep digging into stories that make you feel something real. Because out there, in the mess of it all, courage and silence can shake a city to its core.